that Latina moderator got up there. She said, as the child of an undocumented immigrant, I understand your concern. I said, oh, that's the first time you've said that.
Now we deploying the identity.
So what that tells me is you thought you needed permission to say that.
Yeah.
You were waiting for someone to give you the okay instead of getting up there. Mind you, thick accent, you're not fooling nobody.
Yeah,
so
real.
you should have just got
Especially
up
not
there
them white people.
So it's in the same. And introduce yourself in truth, because you would have benefited the people in here who can relate to you.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 51 of The Jaam. It's JJ, A.B. Allen Matt, the way it always is. But wait a minute, hold on. Yeah. We have a guest joining us. It's March. We're gathered here in March. So in honors of Women's History Month, we wanted to spotlight women who are more than pictures in history books. Women who are actively adding to their own pieces to history and building the future, oftentimes with little to no recognition. So welcome to the show, activist, organizer, social entrepreneur, model, content creator, aspiring filmmaker, and TEDx talk hosting at Harvard. Anya Dillard, please, thank you for coming through to the Jaam. Hey,
resume of like champions. Yeah, that's the resume of prosperity, man.
How you feeling?
Wait, I was holding that in the whole intro.
Take all the sips of water.
Take your time.
But yeah, we decided we had to have a very pertinent conversation because we seen the comments, okay? And I was just saying, it took a 50 episodes to get black women. Okay, you might be right in that, okay? But I was saying, here's my cope. We had to trick the dudes first, gang. They already know. Y'all know the knowledge. Y'all understand it.
You got to realize, too, like, 50 episodes in, right? Our structure is different from everybody else's structure.
It is.
So anytime like we chilling, we like, okay, let's hit out this person. 5 people hit him up before, like, and then we just like, okay,
trying to get everyone scheduled.
It's not like we was just like, all right, we're gonna pick this person instead of they just be hitting us and we be like, okay.
But one of the focuses I really wanted to do though was especially like guests within our generation.
Yes.
People who are doing stuff. So welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come through.
Yes.
Even before we do the
exactly,
let's get some housekeeping out.
Housekeeping of them.
You see the guests. You do this every single week. Hey, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the hype button if you go on to enjoy this episode. Share on all the platforms and follow us all on our individual platforms as well. Alan, where can they find the podcast?
Bro, did y'all just hear the resume that she had?
Like, come on.
Do y'all know who we have? Is y'all crazy? And y'all still gonna play with us, not sharing? Tell them what's up.
Act right. I know y'all got mamas and sisters. I know y'all got female colleagues, female friends, female neighbors even. You better hope you don't end up in the hospital and have a female doctor and you ain't liked and subscribed.
Come on.
Where can you find the
Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Acast, nigga X, Blue Sky,
X, Radio. Wait a minute. What if they want to see exclusive content?
That's
Patreon. Patreon.com/thejaampodcast.
Come on.
Or the link tree if y'all niggas can't pay attention. But
and right up top, where can they find you as well?
Yes.
I am AJDILLARD on all platforms. So you can find me on socials and you can Google me. So,
you gonna find things when you find that Google. You gonna find that Google. You gonna find that Google. Hitting different. But let's get into first and foremost up top. Let's begin on some, just further housekeeping. Okay. What we got on? We let our guests go first. We gotta get with the fit check, the Jaam fit check could do. You could go from the shoes on up, however you want to do.
Well, I'm a thrift queen, so I'm very much everything from here thrifted down until we get to the shoes. I had to my little Air Force One, little top.
I can't go wrong with the navy blue. I'm rocking. Oh, it's fab. I just realized we kind of match it.
Yeah, low key.
Let's go on the Jaam format. Wait a minute. I had to go McQueen on them.
Had to go McQueen.
It's 2 very special episodes, so I had to go McQueen back to back. Then you got the polos, and I'm saying just some regular,
chilling,
navy blue.
Navy blue.
Blood.
It's either JJ Chain is 10 million or it's blood diamonds.
It can never be every single time.
Rest is way down.
Yeah,
Cool, and then, you know.
curly dread on them.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What are the A's?
One of the
I
A's.
guess I'll go.
Oh,
You know what I'm
AB.
saying? I got the black toe ones on the feet
Oh my
with the signature on the signature on the side.
Yeah, you cannot go
Got
wrong.
the skinny ice cream.
You know what I mean? Who said skinny jeans?
Soundbite this.
Soundbite this.
Oh Jesus.
Nah, when they get to the shoes,
BBC on the
y'all know.
sweater. You know what I'm
You know what I
saying?
mean?
Little chain on the chain.
Chain
you know
on
what I'm
it.
saying?
What
New
is the-
grill?
Oh my! When did that come in?
Shout out to Iced Bayana. Where am I at?
Shout out,
to Iced
shout out,
Bayana.
shout
She's
out.
a woman-owned
Crazy.
grill business.
Black home.
Yes. If
Black woman owned.
you are in the Chicago or Hammond area, please hit her up.
Bang,
or
shout out.
if you're in all 50 states, she ships out as well. So,
Shout out.
yeah.
Quick
Real-
turnaround time.
Quick
Shout out.
turnaround time. Yeah, bro.
Alan, what you got on, gang?
I got on little Tim's on.
Tim's on it.
Can't go
Yeah,
wrong
we got
with
the
it.
little
Cold outside.
diamond little veil jeans. Soho.
Soho.
Oh my gosh, when are we getting the drop?
You ain't getting shit. Alright, now, y'all got the Zara on the jacket.
Oh my God, they implicated.
They implicated. I hate this nigga. This why we can't have nice things.
You had to get your back.
Rings,
with that.
you learn.
Hey,
The M.
Certain.
I got the Louis on. We know they implicated.
Ow.
Come on. Got the
they tough,
Louis
but they
on.
tough.
Thrifty jeans.
Thrifty,
thrifty.
Y'all know these jeans got the hole in it. I tell y'all every time I wear them, leave me alone, man. Come on, man. I got the veil top on. You
Yes,
feel
sir.
me? Got
Nah,
chain
saying,
snack on.
Oh my God. They tried to say he was
Got the I almost forgot the
13 mil. Ooh, 23 mil.
Like, yes, sir. Matt with the
God.
with
You know what I
the
mean?
gig. Oh my gosh.
Wait, are we showing the?
Oh,
You are
have to show
joining
you the-
us at a very special moment. Wait,
It's
do you
history.
have it?
Don't play.
it's right here. It's history.
Oh my God, I have it. Thank you guys very much.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. Thank you guys so much. 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
On the game, man.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's back-to-back special episodes. Because the last episode was Big 50, and I think we had officially crossed the milestone. Now we finally got the plaque, and we got a black woman on the podcast.
Man.
Yes, man. You can't be living better. Thank you guys.
Applause.
Give yourselves a round.
Give
of
yourselves a round of
Yeah.
applause at home if you watching for sticking with us
The
this
only way we
long.
were able to get that because they listened to Alan, bro.
Yeah,
You
bro.
listen to him each week and said subscribe, even if he was threatening you. So appreciate you.
They moved though.
They moved though.
Thank you guys very, very much. We will be setting this probably next to Kendrick now.
Yeah,
They
put it
know.
next to Kenny.
Back out. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Back out. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Let's go. Okay, so when I first encountered you and your story, like I was like, you got to be like some sort of international spy. Because like we said, the resume is crazy, but I think it's mainly just from the beginning and doing it so young. The first thing I really wanted to ask was I read about like you first getting your beginnings in activism and everything when you were 5. Just tell people like a little bit about who you are and how does that happen?
Yeah, who are you?
Who are
That was
When
to
I
be
tell
honest,
you, when I was 5, I was playing with Transformers.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when.
He was switched on yet.
I wasn't.
And this is we all like the same age, like similar ages, but like I don't think I said anything of significance like on the internet until maybe like 16, 17.
Yeah.
So like how does that get going for you and like when did that become like your passion for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, don't be fooled. I too was playing with Transformers.
Gotta do that
Real talk though, like I politics came to me late. Like I've had a lot of people ask me like, oh, like how did you form political beliefs at 5? Trust me when I say I didn't. Like it took me a second. But I started in service work at 5 because my mom works at a hospital. So I was raised by Black artists, but like my mom is in media for a healthcare system in Brooklyn. So like every few years, you know, people would do the whole take your kid to work thing. And by 5, I was old enough to go to my mom's job. And you know, your mom's job is only so cool, like when it's just you. Like after a while, all the adult stuff starts getting boring. So I just asked her, I was like, "Yo, are there any kids around here?" Yeah. And she said, "Yeah, there are actually kids who live here." And by that time, I grew up in a really diverse neighborhood. I grew up in West Orange, New Jersey. Shout out with my little.
I'm about to say we got our Chicago jersey, but
not
now. We go to Jersey.
We'll get there. We'll get there because I told y'all I will go. I'll go. No, but like I was really fortunate to grow up in a really diverse place. But in my school system, the children who were designated as having special needs and Gen Pop were very segregated. So I didn't feel like I had that much exposure to kids who were growing up with abilities or like ailments that were different than what I was, of course, dealing with. And so all I heard when my mom said that was, "Oh, there's kids? Where are the kids at?" And she was trying to explain to me, you know, the concept of having a disability. And I wasn't trying to hear none of that. I was like, bro, all I hear is they gonna want to play with me. I'm gonna make friends. That's fine. And I just wasn't hearing it. And so she made the executive decision at the time to just take me down to the pediatric nursing home in the hospital. And the staff introduced me to everybody who was living there. At that time, they were housing young people from newborn all the way up to 22, I think it was at the time. And that was my first experience interacting with anybody who had, you know, any kind of physical or mental disability. And while I was so small, that struck me. Like it had a very real effect on, you know, the way that I looked at the world. And like, it was jarring because that was the only time I had ever felt like I was unfamiliar with somebody. And so that was like a really eye-opening thing. And to this day, I'm grateful that my mom, you know, decided to do that, because nowadays we see people grow up with all kind of biases because they've never met somebody, you know, living in a certain environment or dealing with certain circumstances. And at the end of that day, I remember my mom kind of like tiptoeing around and being like, "You good? Like, you
How you feeling?"
And like she talked to me about it, and she tells me to this day, she's like, "Yeah, all you had to say was how inspired you were. Like, you weren't scared. You weren't like, you were just like, wow, like this person," because some of the kids who were, you know, staying there, some of them were nonverbal, some of them talk your ear off, some of them were like real whizzes with like science or art or math, and others were like aspiring musicians. Like they were just such dynamic kids. And I couldn't understand how at that point, like I had never turned on Nickelodeon or Disney and even seen someone in a wheelchair. And I couldn't understand that. That's considering real. I spent a couple hours around these kids and left feeling like, wow, they're like superheroes. And I remember telling her like, I just want to do something nice for them. And so with her help, of course, because I didn't understand what that meant at 5, I just knew I wanted to go back. And so she, you know, told a bunch of people on the nursing staff and her faculty and in the marketing department that we wanted to come back and do a charity initiative. So we just started raising money. I went to school, started raising money. And people poured into it so much. We ended up having like Congress people donating and all this crazy stuff. And we ended up being able to come back Christmas time and give out pajamas, toys, musical instruments, all these different things that some of the nursing staff to express needs. So we brought like buntloads of stuff. We dressed like elves. It was a whole thing.
This you and your mom at 5?
Me and my mom.
Crazy.
Me and my mom.
So God.
I think about my experience when I was growing up. We used to do like the nursing home in the north side of Chicago. They had like a nursing home. It was called Brightview. And my church used to go there. And I'm gonna keep it a beat, bro. I was scared. As much as like I wanted to help people, and you know, we did street feedings, we did turkey giveaways, all types of shit. But it was like being in that environment is hard for like not only adults, because the adults couldn't conduct themselves a certain way, but like children as well. You kind of like are always on the edge. You never know what they gonna say. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was an asshole, bro. Like I'd be telling my mom like it don't smell good in here, like you know what I mean. But like just not understanding where I was at the time, being so young. So for you to go into an environment like that and be like,
that's why I was gonna say
these kids are dynamic. These kids,
different. Like because I remember it was, I want to say 2017, 2019. I worked in a nursing home with my mom. Actually, she was like, I think she was like the DA or director assistant. DON or
director of nursing.
Yeah, director of nursing. She was the DON, and I was the dude that like scans the people in and stuff like that. So I was at the front, and it was an experience. It was. I made a couple friends with people that, you know, walk in and out, and then, Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It wasn't like I wasn't on no type of timer you was on. That's a whole different.
So the reason why I brought that up though is because I feel like when it comes to the broader like conversation about politics,
Yeah.
I was gonna use it to talk about like using it as the basis for like liberation in your politics.
Yeah.
I see you'll talk a lot about that, but like the thing about it is you have two reactions or there's many reactions, but you have like really two reactions when you encounter like a different environment. And I feel like most of the problems in the world come from the fact that old mature people who should know better can't handle themselves in certain situations or even can't understand that there's a person with a different life perspective. So that like inspiration that I'm gonna say, or you could react the other way where it's like, okay, I understand that society is not giving like a viewpoint to these types of people and then trying to figure out why. Is that something that you just kind of found yourself just doing through time after this point?
Yeah, for sure. Like that wasn't something that I think that me being able to look back on my school environment and look back on like the media I was consuming, like at that age, I wasn't thinking like, I've never met, why haven't I seen anybody like this before? I was just, you could feel that. Like I could feel that in my body, like, oh, I have not encountered this. And there was confusion around it, but I couldn't put words to that until like way later. Because that initiative, once we did that 1 year, we went on to do it for 13 more years. So until COVID hit, we would every year, I brought kids with me 1 year. I think I was like 9. And I brought 6 other 9-year-olds. And there's a picture. I'm going to find it.
We'll put it in post.
I got to find that thing. But there's a picture of me and some of my friends from my class. And I'm in the middle like this. And all of them are like, and you could see like looking back at that photo, I remember being like, wow, like it really is a matter of exposure. And I think that like,
oh, they were like shriveled up because they were there.
They came because I had started. My mom was like, "Yeah, you should start telling your friends. Some of them might want to come because a lot of us in West Orange, like we're big on service. There are a lot of shelters in the surrounding area around us. People are always doing like food drives, coat drives at our schools and stuff. So that was like a big part of the community.
Okay.
So when people heard what they were doing, they were like, "Oh yeah, my kids would love to be involved." They just wanted their kids involved.
Them kids did not want to be involved. Like,
we were so young. Like, you didn't catch none of us being like, I want to be a disability rights advocate. None of us knew what any of that meant. I didn't even know what that meant, and I was doing the thing. So it was like,
that's the same thing. I feel like in art, because it's so weird how it like manifests in completely different ways. Because I felt like I always had that feeling when it came to like social media or doing YouTube or anything. Because that was something that like
passion.
We were were doing that probably a little bit like I guess too early for our own good. Because that was something since we were like 9, 8. But it was like when you do it. It wasn't that sense of like, I'm intentionally taking X, Y, Z steps.
I was gonna say this, right? A lot of people ask us all the time. They'd be like, "Well, how did you form?" Like you were talking about how your political views you weren't formed yet.
Nah.
People ask us all the time, like, "How did you do this? How did you do that?" And I'd be like, "Gang, I had a switched off period where I was not here. Like, bro, I'm a 16-year-old, bro. Like, I'm not thinking about these things." Did you have a period? I know you said you went into that, like your political like ideologies and all those things. Did you have a period where like you felt you were switched off and then it came, or did you just think because your environment, your mom doing it at such a young age, you've just always been that way?
I always like to argue.
Like, okay.
I'm
What's your sign?
Like a big debater.
What's your name?
Wait, look. I don't even do the stars, but like, listen.
I don't know the stars.
I don't even do the stars, but like when I hear I love to argue, I think of like Scorpios. Or something.
No.
Okay.
My Scorpio sisters.
Oh, every Scorpio behind the screen said, "You motherfucker, liking this shit." What do you say?
Forgive him, bro.
Yeah, I don't do the stars.
I'm not literal like that. I gotta
start saying that. I don't do the stars.
Yeah, I don't do the stars.
No, but like in all honesty, I'm a Taurus, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I hear good things.
14.
14.
Okay.
19.
Oh my God!
Back
out my April ad back here.
October ad back
My
here.
December.
No, that's crazy. I almost forgot what I was saying before that. But no. Wait.
We were
About
talking
like
about
what point did you?
Oh
feel
yes,
like,
no. It was. It's funny. I always like to argue, and in the sense that like I was a very non-confrontational kid, but if you was wrong, I was gonna tell you. Like people don't know because I'm like full-fledged into the like socio-political scene and like media and art and all that stuff now, but like before I liberated my mind, I wanted to be a scientist real bad. So like, Animal Planet
What type
was
of science?
my Real
Oh, okay.
Housewives. Like I literally,
Animal Planet,
Animal Planet was my
History
Real
Channel.
Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like History Channel.
History
Animal
Channel was
Planet.
my shit back then.
No.
Irwin was my guy. Like that was my LeBron. Like Steve Irwin. Like oh my god. But like literally, I wanted to be a conservationist from the time I was like a child up until I think I was like a tween. So like 11. And because my parents were always like, the second you tell us you want to do something, we're gonna put you in every possible thing adjacent to that just so you can figure it out.
That's nice.
They didn't care what I did. They just wanted to make sure that I was feeding into that as early as possible so that I could, one, decide if that was really what I wanted to do and then become the best at it. So like that was a big thing in my family.
That's fire.
And I'm so grateful for that because
Yeah.
I mean, game-changing environment to like grow up in. But because of just the nature of STEM industries at the time, every program for the gifted I was in, I was looking around, I'm like,
Yeah.
Not only black, but also was there a lot of like young black girls in there at all? Yeah, I ain't think so.
and it's crazy because all the biggest science whizzes I knew were black women.
Wow.
So I couldn't understand. I was like, I know.
Hard to put it on
The
paper.
I know we out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
like,
like not the
why?
same as what you experiencing.
And I think that was what I questioned that a lot. And I didn't experience racism, like overt racism. No one ever said nothing crazy to me, like at those programs. Some of them were out of state too. So that's like, I'm fortunate to say that. Because I know some people would be like, Charlie started touching in my hair at 3 a.m. Oh my God. My roomie
Oh my gosh, that didn't happen to me up north. You niggas tweaking. What is we doing?
I never had no bewitched experiences or nothing like that. But like, I questioned it a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't until, one, I was old enough to understand Trayvon. I was old enough to understand Mike Brown. And I remembered viscerally, even though I was young, I mean, 2008, that was Obama's inauguration. I remember so vividly, my whole family was at the house. We was all
Remember that?
Oh my God. I remember like people jumping off the couches when he was like,
Jumping
it
up
was
and down.
crazy. Yes.
But it's crazy because like, I remember the whole house was live and it was just so live and vivacious and loud. And I was sitting on the floor just like taking it all in and we were watching the TV and Obama and Michelle were in a car coming down that big strip in the Capitol and everyone was outside. And it was like, all the fanfare. And they decided to get out the car.
Yeah.
They decided to get out the
Cadillac.
the Cadillac and walk alongside the car as they was rolling and wave.
Yeah.
And my entire house went silent,
Yeah.
quiet. And like,
It's a moment.
I couldn't understand what just happened. But I remembered that day for years. Even now I'm 22 and I remember that day. And it was crazy then because as a kid, I just wanted like, what y'all butts clenched for? Like, what happened? But looking back, I'm like, they all were so aware that y'all can take this win from us in a second right now. And so until they got back in that car,
Yeah.
quiet. And it was then that I realized like, oh wow, like nah, we're at war.
Yeah.
Like this is a win.
That's a very interesting perspective, man. That's like
Oh no, because that is that just hit me on a different level because
Yeah.
that's literally what it is. Like, and we'll get more into like doing this journey, like being young and still realizing these things. But it legit was that moment that like, oh, someone could really shoot these people. Like or do anything crazy right now because you don't see black people, a black family, like walking in the center of power like that.
as much as it's a surreal experience to see them doing it, it's also
It's
like
a surreal experience
like-
because it comes with everything. It's like, oh shit, this is crazy, but also it could go wrong in the worst ways possible. And to interpret, to interpret that as like we're at war, like that is an interpretation that would be like because in a country that accurately is representing like all the people that's in it, you'd expect that to be like a moment where you're not nervous. It's just like, oh yeah, this demographic of people is getting represented, but it's never been that simple.
It was like a moment showing like how much we've been fucked over because it's like we're so excited for this one moment, but we're like, yo, this shit can get taken.
And look how many people though like didn't probably view it that way. Like there's probably a lot of people that viewed it like
thought about it.
I know we was like 2008, gang? What I must have been
Four.
like 4 or
Three,
5. I know I wasn't
4,
sitting there like, damn, they might get they shit blipped off.
I was Michael Jackson dancing and shit.
I'm like, oh my god.
But that the truth in that is, and that's what I want to ask you. So like going from that moment, and also like earlier on, kind of like getting this perspective that like you want to see as many people like represented and sticking up for them and everything. There's paths that people have like chosen to take. You know, you go the traditional like political side, or being a politician, or being involved with like the party, or like, you know, the activist side, being on the ground, being everything. Did you ever see that as like a decision that you had to make, or like time sacrifice or anything, or was it just this is how I want to do this, and starting to build from now like into content creation and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made a hard decision recently. Like it wasn't until I've lived in this kind of like space where it's kind of like wherever I land, I'm confident I'll do well. Like that's just kind of been my mindset. I never, after pivoting out of the sciences and I just had an awakening after Mike Brown and after like all these protests started breaking out, and realizing like, oh no, like this concept of we're at war, that really sat with me, because I had been fortunate enough to grow up around so many educated Black people who were like, who my grandparents could talk about when Malcolm was up in Harlem raising hell, and my parents could talk about what it was like to like come out of that. And so I knew I wanted to be kind of a conduit for everything that came out of that. And I knew that I couldn't do that in the same way if I was focused in that area. So I knew I wanted to pivot out. I didn't know where I was landing. So I just had to be confident that I'd be able to figure that out. And because of my background as a creative child, that was like what I started using to form my political beliefs. So being able to express myself, first I started through writing. So that was when I got into journalism, and, you know, use that as a way to like kind of help myself make sense of the emotion I was feeling, and then put facts to it and be like, oh, so there's a basis for this anger. There's a basis for this fear. There's a basis. Right. And once I got to high school, that was when it all started clicking, because like I was the person in class, even when I was just into science. If you told me that there are 6 species of giraffe, I would have been like, no, there's 12 actually. And by the time I got to middle school, we talking about history. So I'll break down and be like, no, actually that was invented in Africa. No, I can break down the actual
I know somebody's parent was mad.
Someone got that call.
My parents received many an email.
That's insane. That just shows you.
But like, I was raised by scholars.
There's levels to this shit.
There's levels. And so, middle school was really formative for me, because that was when I got confident in stepping on the debate stage in that regard. Like, you know, really like putting pedal to the metal in terms of being vocal. High school stuff started picking up, because those were the years that Trump was doing his big one, and for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
And so again, like I grew up in a really diverse community. I didn't have to face a lot of people who were, of course, his core supporters in those early stages, but like it didn't matter to me, because I was like, the girl in the next town who looks like me is dealing with that right now. So it's like the brothers that are going to school, these private schools in the South, or that are dealing with this in corporate America, like my people are dealing with this. So it's not about like, oh, I'm in a blue state, I'm good.
It ain't.
It's a collective thing, and I always understood that. And in high school, that was really when I like started putting pedal to the metal. I started an organization of my own. I started like being like, well, if I want to be in this space, let me just be entrepreneurial about it, because that's the best way that I learn and like really be able to get on the ground and see what was happening. And I got bit by the organizing bug, and so the nonprofit world cradled me for some time, and it took me a while to pivot into what I would consider my career to be now, as a filmmaker, as someone who owns her own production company now, and who's still doing but yeah, I'm still doing, you know, the same kind of advocacy work I was doing, but I burnt out.
Oh, that's right.
I definitely burnt out. I had to like come to terms with the fact that I didn't want to be a lawyer, that I didn't want to run for office, because everybody and their mother.
Hang out. Okay, wait, real quick.
Yes.
Okay, where is your parents in it? Because we almost had a moment we was talking about.
Yeah.
Where your parents from? Like island.
BK. Guyana. Or as Bad Bunny says, Guyana. Very Latinos. Yeah.
Were they like big on like education? Get your okay, cool.
Yeah.
We are
Jamaica.
The Jamaican. So we got and I remember I asked because like our parents was heavy on the note because my mama came through in the 90s. She been working as a nurse since she came to
30 damn near 30-year vet.
My mom is first gen. My mom's mom was a nurse for 40 years in Brooklyn.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's
like
insane. Yeah.
Our parents came straight up off the island.
Yeah.
My grandma was like back in the 40s back in Jamaica, and then my mama came through here in the 90s. And like that was it took me time to like put words to it, but like I knew at some point, maybe it was in high school, that I did not want to be a lawyer, but like it was that thing that's kind of reinforced to just get your education, because that's like the most steady and like sure way to get like above.
Especially in America, like coming from whatever country you're coming from, like that's what those immigrant parents are gonna tell you every time. College.
But I think one of the most important things that I like really appreciated about like at least our upbringing was that we got to experience so many different like intersections of the black like diaspora because of that. It was like whether it was going to school and like hearing what my homies who grew up and been in America for however long like been listening to and what that was, as opposed to like Caribbean or Afro like stuff, and it was all kind of like all in one. Is that been something that you've like definitely held? Because it took me a while to get to a point where I could definitely describe it as like I had pride in like my blackness and everything. Because of how like socialized, especially where even like the little black kids where we were from, you know how I get.
It was just different.
So it was different. At what point did you? Because I know you were just talking about how like you wanted to be a conduit in that regard. That was like, at what point were you like, okay, cool, I want to attack this from this lens of whether it's liberation or black liberation? Because I mean, we see how scary it is, especially throughout history,
especially as a woman.
Yeah. I think high school was when I started doing my big one. I was in AP classes. I was in all these like honors institutes at my high school. White.
Man, oh my God. I learned that PWI life at university.
Mind you, that's the thing. We were not a PW. Like we were a predominantly black and Latino school. So I'd get up in my AP classes and be like, where my home?
You remember back where we came from was like 60-70% black by the time we was there. You seen that picture of me in like Scholastic Bowl. It was me, one other person who had like some melanin because he was like from Middle Eastern descent, and then it was all white people. You see how stratified it was.
Yeah, for sure. And that was like that was when we was reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Exactly. All of them ones.
Like,
I gotta say the word.
I gotta say it, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm reading 3 pages ahead, and I'm looking at my teacher like,
what you about to do?
You better make a decision.
It's gonna happen, guys. It's for the dramatic effect of the book.
It's really a time period.
Damn, you had to say it like that.
I was really like trying to understand. I was trying to understand like. Because then that would be a whole conversation. So the teacher would be smart enough to skip over it, but then it'd be like, so why do you think this is such a point of contention?
Why?
I'm gonna have this conversation.
I was in it, y'all. I was in it every day. I was coming into class like,
right?
Like,
want to smoke.
And like because I knew I had energy there, I was like, I'm only be in this class for a couple months. But I know there are people who are dealing with this like in the policy making places, in the streets, in all these different environments. So I got outside. Like I'll never forget when Valentine's Day time was coming around and Parkland happened. And that was a big thing at my school. That was the first time I ever saw a walkout like live. And everybody came outside on the field, and there were people. I was in a Jubilee choir and the step teams my whole high school career. Y'all know.
Shout out to step team.
Very black. But no, I was, they came outside and they were, getting people to walk out. And that was the first time I was like, oh, so this is mobilization. I'm like, I get it. And after that, I had only really been exposed to other activists by being online. Like I didn't have a bunch of young people in my hometown just doing stuff. So I only had Teen Vogue 21 under 21 to reference. I only had like the few little articles I could find of like young people who were doing stuff. And I would just connect with them on social media. And that was like how I learned like what are people doing as kids to like put pedal to the metal. And I just started taking notes from the people who were doing it well. And then before I knew it, I had an organization of my own. The Next Gen Come Up. Shout out to my
Shout out.
Yes,
Next Gen Come Up.
But being so young, like, and doing all those things, like, how do you even like balance like the school life
Or the mental life.
Because even like the pressure on that, because I could imagine like, because you were saying your parents support you, I could imagine the pressure on just like them putting their all to you.
And also, did you ever reach out to people in your school to organize, and what was their response to that?
Oh my God, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So balance, I still struggle with to this day.
That's
like
real.
I just started going to therapy. That's the first, like literally.
Hey,
At least somebody on the fucking
somebody doing it. Goddamn room. Get in there.
Like, that's a real thing. Like someone, it's funny. I gave my TED Talk at Harvard last weekend, and a colleague of mine who came. Thank you so much.
I was like, yo, we need a soundboard, bro.
No, but a colleague of mine came up to me and he was like, every time I ask you what's next, you say some Avengers Assemble ass thing. Like, what's the next normal thing for Anya? And I, without even a hesitation, I said, I just started therapy. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. And that's been a conversation for like a long time. Because it didn't take me long to understand that like I'm a high functioning workaholic. So like I won't even know that I'm depleting my cup until it's like a hole has been drilled through the bottom. And it's like, oh
That's
dang,
so
I
real.
can't even pour nothing else into this.
Crash,
But like,
Yeah.
I think like with the school aspect of it, high school was easy to manage because it was literally all I had to worry about was like getting through homework and then figuring out how I wanted to like make an impact. I did not know what I wanted to do for my career. I just knew that was where my passion was flowing. So I figured, I'm like, oh, well, then maybe that's a sign that I should run for office. I didn't realize till later that I was like, oh, this is not. I was like, oh. And it really came from me having to deal with multiple politicians. Love y'all bad. I do.
No, but keep it real. But keep it real. Keep it a busy bee.
I really was in some crazy situations dealing with politicians and like, and just seeing how they move. Like even the people I respected in those spaces, I was like, oh, there's a whole bunch of chutes and ladders to this.
Yeah,
a bunch of geeky niggas.
I'm like, and people, it's so funny because I'm sure all the educated black women have been through this. It's like, oh, when are you running for president? I started getting to a point where I heard that so many times that my response just became, child, I wouldn't survive it. Trust me. And like, then people would keep saying, I'm like, child, they would kill me in there. They don't want me in there because I'm not a safe pick person. Like I will get somewhere and I'll tell it like it is. I've been told, and this kind of ties into like with your question. I've been told a lot of times that people have brought me on to brand deals, people have brought me into conferences, summit environments, people have put me on stages because they thought I was the commercial option. They wanted to advocate, they wanted to show their support for the Gen Zs in the movement, but they didn't want to risk no smoke. So I was like, she seems nice.
She seems safe.
She seems mild-mannered, and we all know what contributes to that seeming nice and seeming mild-mannered. And I knew that. So best believe every time I got up on a safe pick stage, oh, I gave him hell.
That's real.
Like that fucked with your confidence a little bit. Them not.
Or did it double it up? Because
It doubled it.
Yeah, because I feel like I've begun to more and more like what is it? Kind of identify with that.
Yeah.
Because like you see how the focus is on the younger generation and the people who are driving the culture and creating the culture and everything. But like we've even began to like experience how that'll be another look to it, another trick or some shit in the bag when it comes to embracing voices that are unfiltered
Yeah.
and that like actually, because it's funny you say all this stuff that I think that makes you more qualified for president because like
Real.
I think we've seen the tried experiment over and over again that's kind of by design in this country where it's like you have the most watered down individual who's open to be swayed by all types of different actors, and the greatest threat to that is somebody who understands that and is willing to stand on it. So do you feel like you've been frozen out of like rooms or like different aspects of that, like kind of implied things pushed onto when you're trying to like make your voice heard in these spaces?
Not recently. Like I think once I get in there and I do what I'm gonna do, I won.
That's real. Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I've shut down many a conference. I'll never forget. And this goes back to your question of when you were trying to get other people to join you. Like, how did that go? Especially in like high school.
Oh yeah.
I'll never forget. My dean, when I was in college, Dean Eatman of the HLC at Rutgers University. That's my scholarly dad. I got
Shout out.
But I'll never forget, I just got back from a conference with him and a few other honors college HLC students. And it was all about social impact and empowerment. And I had moderated a panel with a bunch of other UC Santa Cruz students about the importance of intergenerational partnerships in the movement. And I was feeling real riled up. I was like, oh, this was great. Like everyone was so like on game. And he said, and now I want you to go to Boston. I said, like right now? He said, like in 2 days. I said, oh. I said, what's happening in Boston? And he had nominated me for like this cohort of civic fellows. And it was under organization I won't name for their sake. But I remember telling him like, okay, I'm down, but like, what's the gig? What's the get up? He's like, it's not the most radical environment. But they're talking about civic engagement, and I nominated you to represent the university, so they're having their in-person convening in Boston. I said, okay, well, let's go.
It's all right.
I said, if y'all are not the most radical, I don't need to take y'all. It's okay. We can talk about policy, and we can talk about House of Representatives. I can do that. So I get there, and surprisingly diverse, still very predominantly white, but I was seeing people from all kinds of, backgrounds and from different academic environments. So I was game.
Conference type thing.
It's 3 days long. I'm thinking, okay, how many opportunities they get to piss me off?
3 days, long ass
3
time.
days.
I think it was like you had like a day to travel in, and then there was one major day, and then the departure day was also the second day. So it was more like two.
You want me to come in?
Yeah.
And just all right.
And I was when I tell you I was ready to play nice, I really was. And we get up in there, and we were at the Kennedy Center in Boston, and it was this beautiful rotunda. It was like a mock House of Representatives, so you could really walk through how the Senate works. They took you through like the delegation process. It was really like, my filmmaker brain was like, it's a set, but it's not. It's like it's just like a model so that young people can go through and like learn how the halls of Congress feels and looks and what processes are like. Anyway, I remember the Green New Deal being our sample for, we're gonna put y'all through the senatorial process and like let y'all debate on the Green New Deal as if you were a senator or a representative. So they gave us states to rep, and they took us back into the chambers, and we did this whole thing.
Night.
So I was having fun. I was like, okay, and yes.
Sound like History Channel. Sound like good time.
It was fun. I said, okay.
None should go wrong.
Then they start saying social determinant. I said, I said, that's one of my words. Then they said equity. I said, uh-oh.
Oh, equity.
They started to use systemic. I said, wait, I thought y'all said y'all was.
Yeah, I thought y'all was crazy. Hold on.
I said, I thought they said y'all wasn't going there. I said, so now I'm trying to figure out, okay, what are y'all really on?
So what's the boundary?
These people start breaking down all the things that the Green New Deal covers. Now, y'all know about the Green New Deal. You can't be neutral and just talk about the Green New Deal like there aren't massive inequities that it addresses.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing like, oh, y'all are fully like breaking down climate inequity and enough to like name it as something this thing. So I'm like, but are y'all gonna say those words that I'm waiting for y'all to say? I have never seen people dance around white supremacy more in my life. Oh my
God.
Like I'm hearing people come up for phrases like addressing it that are just so, and it's like
anything to not
and
say.
It was really, and it wasn't just like it didn't come to mind. It was like, no, I'm watching y'all
dance around.
Think about how do I not say this? And like,
for the people that might not know what the Green New Deal is, can you explain like some of those things for the People, or even JJ, if you want
Yeah,
to get
I don't
into
even
it.
know if
It's very
better than
yeah,
JJ.
very basically. It's literally just so the New Deal programs that they did in the 40s, giving everybody job guarantees.
Yeah.
Obvious problem being, they left black people and brown people out of it.
Yeah.
By and large, but it was a historic investment during the Great Depression to like make sure people could work and not all be poor because unemployment has skyrocketed. Blah.
Yeah.
The Green New Deal is pretty much doing that again, but replacing all the fossil fuel shit with renewable shit that's not going to extinct the planet.
Yeah.
Acknowledging like climate, like racism, how there's disparate impacts between like communities. And if you're talking about Green New Deal, you want a big federal government response to climate change.
Yeah.
That would take directly having
you'd
those
have to-
conversations because how do you think they even built the policies before?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't
By
have a
looking-
conference where you talking about it, but with every other word besides like, white supremacy and our constant defense of billionaires is fucking up the planet. Let's do something about it.
Let's really talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they try to,
I was really like, you know what? I said, we all just touched down. I said, our butts just got warm in the seats. I said, I'm going to give y'all a day. So I let them go. I let them go.
Give them a buffer period.
But I started taking notes. And I was taking notes before, but I created a Apple note in my phone that was like,
Now you
read
locked
them
in.
down. And I just started making bullets of every time they pissed me off. And I was like, I'm gonna give grace. So the whole first day goes by and I'm watching people, in every part of the day, every part of the programming, every part of even the debate when they had different reps like go up against each other. I'm watching even the young people try to like.
Yeah, oh my God.
I'm like, okay, we are at a conference for people who want to be involved in civic engagement. I'm positive that 75% of this room want to run for office.
Yeah. That's
said,
terrifying.
They all presidents.
That's
I said
terrifying.
noted though, because it's all right.
Yeah.
Matt.
Day 2.
Day two. Day two.
Day two
gotta trust the
comes.
process.
Day two comes, I'm waiting. I'm not even talking all that much because in my mind I'm like, this ain't.
She waiting for that conversation.
Because now it's all that matters to
Yeah.
me. Quite honestly, everything else y'all talking about, great. But I'm in this world. I don't need y'all to teach me how this works. So I'm sitting here, I'm just trying to be a good representative for my university, but I'm watching. The entirety, the full 24 hours of day two goes, and not a single person still has said those two words. They haven't even said race.
wild.
Now
That's
I'm
wild.
counting syllables. I'm like, okay, wait. So they didn't say, I'm like, they didn't say white supremacy, but did they say black? Did they even say Latino, BIPOC even? Nothing. Damn. I
It's
said,
crazy.
What is we talking about? We talking
Like, what, I was gonna say, how are we talking
talking
about
about
that?
that?
this is how crazy it was. I heard that the keynote for the day was a black woman who worked in counterterrorism at the federal level. Hold on.
Wait, you said it wasn't radical. We was going cool.
Alan, let me get there. Alan, I promise I'll get there. Jesus. I heard that and I said, oh, finally. I said, we gonna get the break, y'all. I said, okay, I damn near deleted the note. I said, sat down at dinner. That woman got up there. Not a word about her experience as a black woman in counterterrorism. Not a word about the nuances of working in a department where you have to argue whether the black people who are on the grounds are the domestic terrorists or whether you talking about the people that are causing different threats overseas that y'all's infrastructure
Guess who
has
they
caused.
kidnapping right now calling domestic terror?
Come on.
Black and brown people.
Come on.
The
That's
same
wild.
grassroots people that she was up there saying, yeah, I have a history of working with grassroots organizations. I said, oh, so you're not going to name the fact that you spend half your day arguing that your colleagues are not domestic terrorists? How are we not going to?
And the racial implications.
When I
Yeah.
tell you she didn't even get up there and say, yeah, as a black woman, nothing.
That's
She
insane.
might as well have been up there talking about my favorite color is purple
like in counterterrorism.
in
you
front of
tell
all
me.
these young people.
Yeah.
And that was really my problem is like, you're allowing these people to walk away thinking
Yeah, they
everything is
That this-
chill
Yeah,
right
like
now.
white supremacy don't got nothing to do with it.
I'm like, yo, I know you've been up in that department catching hell. And she's, when I tell you black woman, black woman. And I'm like, you're not gonna stand up here and say to me that you skating. Like, I know that's not true. And there's value in the honest testimony that that's not true. But she didn't say that. And I fought that day. I said, I want to ask her a question. And I decided against it because I was watching all these white, especially white boys who were in there with me. I was watching them look at her speak, and I just thought, if I ask her this question and it stumps her, that's gonna do something in the minds of all these white people that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I wanted to ask her that question about, so what has your experience been since you're someone who works with grassroots organizers? What has your experience been with denoting what constitutes domestic terrorism and what cannot?
Yeah.
If you're trying to maintain
you're
those
directly,
coalitions.
You're directly
that's a
engaged
political
with
question.
it.
It's a political question.
The
and
thing
it's
about it
important.
is too, though, you're right about not being able to, because whether she got stumped or not, for whatever reason, like, you don't want
that
those
whole
white
room gets uncomfortable.
Exactly.
No,
No
and
white people think she got stumped for a entirely different reason.
I
than
didn't,
the actual
and not
reason.
to say like, I really don't want that to come off like I had all the power in the world to derail this woman's credibility. My thing was just, I understand how people's minds work. And like, already in every context, we're being looked at as both a litmus test and this kind of like schema of like, oh, well, let's see what she sounds like when she speaks. Let's see how much she can attest to in her work experience. Let's see whether you know it or not, like especially in a room like that.
They're grading you.
People are grading you. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
I feel
Because
like
I
that's-
knew. I
that's
already
real.
knew. I
That's
was
a
like,
good. I think that's a good and real decision. But I think that the thing that we're kind of getting at is, in my mind at least, what I've wanted to kind of represent with this space and with like my ideas about the Jaam is that like that era of politic where we just like flowery language over everything and ignore the very real implications. Like, you can't, because your enemies aren't. That's how they're using it to divide up
That's how they
categories.
use it to
Right.
bring up the
all the
institution.
time. So
Yeah.
it's saying something where, if for the sake of tranquility and not wanting to feel uncomfortable, and maybe if you're sanitizing the conversation, what you're really actually doing is you're just not talking about the thing.
Yes.
And they
Putting
will
it
talk
under the
about it
rug,
when
yeah.
they
all
want
day.
to lock
all
you up.
day, yeah.
So like I feel like that's a very important piece of kind of being like so young in this, because I do think that that's a perspective that we're more in tune with as a product of our age. Like I see how many people kind of are tentative to like, and even we talked a little bit about Obama. Like I remember how much of an icon he represented to me as a kid, but it was like learning that like how things get watered down and the choices that were made. It's like, I feel like Black political representation, we have a chance, at least I think in our lifetime, to make it so that Black political representation is more than just like the faces in the place. As opposed to like the
big name,
Like what it means really opening the door.
I want to see like the principles. I want to see more of the principles and the positions that you're standing on. Like, what has been your experience journeying through all this world? And I do want to get into the filmmaker stuff, like the creative piece of it, because we are in this weird intersection too. We're trying to do political stuff, but also literally whatever we want to do. So that intersects in multiple ways. But yeah, how do you think it's been like seeing that representation or lack thereof in these rooms that you'll go into?
To add to that as well, like with just being a woman, like when you're, because I know you have like mentees or like you have people you talk to, like when you're talking to them, like how do you try to make them understand like the power, and not only them being a woman, but being sometimes that only person or those only few Black women in these spaces?
I'm very serious about that. Like, it took me a long time to be willing to call myself or to like take up that role as a mentor, because I'm so young. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm qualified for all that. But like, I understood that because I had done the amount of work that I had done on the grounds, that like there was a lot of value in just being able to tell people what I've seen.
Yeah, your
especially when
perspective,
it's like young kids who are coming to me and they're like, I really want to do this work, but I don't know what I don't know. And so that's really been like one of the coolest things to come out of like that era for me, and like still just being in that space. Like that's one of the things I really take pride in and like joy in. But it's really like so many of those years I was so willing to be the only one. Oh, don't let me be the only one. Like at that conference, the reason I had that note out is because I was giving them strikes. I said, y'all got until the morning of day 3. And I'm gonna ask for that mic. I've always been that. And I'm so not a person who is scared by that. And not to critique, I think that a lot of people of color who were at that conference, who were my peers, who were my age mates, I was hearing whispers of discomfort too, even then, of like, man, they on this again. Like, they not going, all right. But a lot of those kids had gone to PWIs their whole life and had gone, so they're conditioned to like, they got a skin for that, and they can kind of just be like,
you kind of go along.
me, I'm hot. Now I'm like,
I feel that.
And so and again, I didn't critique them on that, but I just understood the difference. And because I know I came from a place of, of privilege in that regard, to where I knew I was injected with the Black pride. I was the girl with her fro from wall to wall in every room. Like, I used that really, like I really stepped into that, and that's I only do that not because I like to fight. Like, that's not. Some people are like, let me argue. I'm not. I don't find joy in just the back and forth, but it's really this that makes it all so important to me. The morning we was leaving for that conference, I realized, I'm like, y'all not gonna say it. And the last presenter before closing remarks, and literally they were gonna have the last presenter, closing remarks, and folks was gonna get in their Ubers and go to the airport. So this thing was over with, The last presenter was this white woman. She was a professor, and she did an entire presentation on this idea of creating unintentional harm. And she worked on like infrastructure in different countries. Like, she was working with all these organizations who were building up houses and schools and pipelines and waterways and all these other developing countries. And she did a presentation phenomenally about how when you're a Western organization coming into another country, you can't assume that Western solutions will be the right solutions for not Western problems. Otherwise, you become a part of what's keeping certain aspects of those countries, in disarray. And I really respected her angle. But what I respected more is that white woman got up there and said white supremacy 6 different times.
That's crazy.
And I sat there and said, wow. I said...
She saved the whole room.
I said... But it's wild that I sat there and I watched a Black woman take that seat on that stage. And it took this white lady coming up here and just happening to have sense and saying that. I walked right up to that woman when she got off stage. And I said to her, thank you so much for your presentation. I said, I just wanted to let you know that despite the fact that we've been focused on civic engagement and all these issues surrounding what we're all fighting for, your presentation was the first time that I've heard the words white supremacy this entire weekend. And all she said, they loved it. Have you been heard? Has your voice been heard? Have your concerns been addressed? And I said, and she, again. Are you okay? She was really, you could understand that is jarring considering where we are at. And it made me laugh in the moment because it was me too realizing it's ridiculous, ain't it? And she said, have you been heard? And I said, I will, don't worry about that.
Shit.
I went up to somebody in the corner, one of the only other Black women on staff. I said, hey, friend. She said, hey. I said, who got that mic for closing remarks? She said, oh, why, you want to say something? I said, yeah. She said, I'll get it to you. I said, okay, cool. Right. So I'm sitting at the table with the only couple Black girls who are my friends. I told them I was going to kick the table. I told them I was. So they sitting there and they're like, they're like,
when it's going to happen?
And again, here I am. I'm not stressed. Hundreds of people are in here. And I'm hearing them. And the moderator of the program was this Latina woman. So she's up there, ironically enough, she's giving closing remarks. And as she's going through, I'm like, they're not going to hand this mic off. I said, oh, okay. I said, uh-oh. Well,
she's extending it.
I'm gonna have to start. So I said, well, it's not gonna be as easy as I thought. I stood up. Ooh. I said, I'd like to say something. And literally, everyone at my table said,
yeah, phone.
I'll go get it.
And I still have that video, literally.
Yeah.
And I got up, and mind you, the woman on stage said, oh, would you like to come on stage? Now, that was not a part of the plan.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I just thought she was going to give me the mic. I said, oh, well, I'm in it now, Lord. And I
gotta go get it.
Yeah.
I got up there with my little Apple Note. And literally, I only remember what I said before I blacked out. But I just know I was talking. So real. I was up there for 8 minutes talking. That's all I know.
8 minutes?
8 whole minutes talking. Wow. And I just remembered, all I remembered saying was, it is so fascinating to me that we've all flown in here from different states to talk about civic engagement. And it took a white woman getting on this stage for anyone in this room to say the words white supremacy once, despite the fact that everything y'all have talked about during this conference is a direct product or symptom of white supremacy. And from there, I don't remember what I said.
In the 48 hours that we've been here, the term white supremacy was not mentioned until 8:30 this morning, despite the fact that it's at the root of every single issue that has come across the table since we got here yesterday morning. And I find that it's interesting because in spaces that are predominantly white, Caucasian, if you will, like this one, there is a sense of relief that comes over the crowd. There's the sense of, oh, well, we don't have to talk about race this time, thank goodness. And this is not a black girl trying to make everything about race. I'm gonna preface it by saying that, because none of us want to make everything about race. The reason why we are so frustrated is because it has been made so by the system that everything is about race. So when we talk about it, it's not us trying to make something relevant that already isn't. It's us trying to bring attention to the core and root cause of the things that are causing people to lose their lives, to lose opportunities, and to have to struggle to live freely in this country. So that's why I've decided that despite the fact that many of you have probably spent this weekend feeling quite comfortable, I don't owe you that comfort. None of the melanated people in this room owe you that comfort. So we've been instructed to disrupt. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now, we were given the privilege to listen to Director Riccio from Northeastern University speak about unintentional harm that is caused when you enter a space not knowing and assuming things about a person, place, culture, what have you. And it's interesting because the topic of giving people the benefit of the doubt came up a lot. And I find that white people, and I'm gonna continue using these words because over the course of these past 2 days, we seem to have danced around color a lot. We seem to have danced around white supremacy a lot by calling it social systems, by calling it, structures, these blanket terms, when really, we can call it exactly what it is. Everyone in here knows what we're talking about, so let's define it. We have talked about how we often give people benefit of the doubt. And I think that white people in these spaces, whether they be socio-political, nonprofit, societal, or other, can afford to give one another the benefit of the doubt. Because we've all suffered from the authority bias of, oh, well, what can they do wrong? Because we ourselves have been impacted by the biases that white supremacy gives us to trust in anybody who is pale and who has any level of credential, despite the fact that that doesn't mean that that person has no capability of being morally wrong in any given space, right? And I'm making this very clear because people of color in the civic space, melanated people in this room, in the rooms that you all will occupy, we cannot afford to give anyone the benefit of the doubt. We cannot afford to give anyone, just hand people our trust and assume that we're never gonna be in a position where we're gonna have to critique them or to pull them back. Because regardless of someone's intention, you can be subconsciously or consciously harmful. Your unintentional harm is caused by the biases that you are subjected to, the biases you were raised within, the circumstances you were raised within. So we don't care, frankly, whether it was intentional or not, because the magnitude of harm can be the same across the board.
I know that's right.
And that's important to talk about. And I'm coming from a place of experience. I've been a grassroots organizer for many years, but it's gotten me into rooms and into spaces where legislators, policymakers, and people that consult entities as large as some of the most, notorious intelligence agencies in this country, it trickles down across the board. And in July of this summer, I was a part of a group of some of the most powerful Gen Z Black organizers in the country that were invited to speak with Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State of the United States, about the United States plan to infiltrate the diaspora and to influence a democratic plan to better the diaspora. And through this meeting, through reading these briefings, through doing this research, it became very clear that that unintentional harm that Director Riccio was talking about was in full play in this entire plan. Now, I'm not somebody that enters rooms expecting the worst. I love talking to people with different opinions as I do. I love learning about policy. I love being in those spaces. So this is not a critique of the democratic structure in any way, but it is an example of how your own preconceived biases, your unawareness of your own privilege can really end up impacting an entire group of people that you may never have to interact with one-on-one. So you can afford to make those assumptions, but as a representative and as someone that knows the impacts that these things have on people, that is why I'm bringing this example to you. So some of the things in the brief they shared with us, the Biden administration shared with us, was that their strategy to collaborate with the diaspora would involve things like aiding African youth in bettering their education and giving them access to resources and safe spaces to learn. A couple months prior to this meeting, I was a part of a coalition that was actively aiding young African med students who are attempting to get out of Ukraine during the war. Now, despite all of our efforts to communicate this struggle to the Biden administration, all of the money that was raised in the US and sent to Ukraine to aid refugees did not go to refugees of color. They went to white Ukrainian refugees, and the infrastructures that were put in place did not benefit in any juncture the Black and brown young people that were attempting to escape Ukraine. So when breached with the point of the United States wants to aid African youth, I breached the point. Well, they had every opportunity, because we were asking you, what are you gonna do to get African and brown students in this country out and to somewhere safe? And it was made clear that that wasn't the priority, but all of a sudden, now that there is an economic gain, now you're claiming that you were wanting to aid African youth. And it was things like cybersecurity reform. We're gonna better the cybersecurity of the diaspora, despite the fact that the United States and Israeli government created one of the first cyber weapons in history that, when leaked, destroyed the cybersecurity and fortitude of most of the digital infrastructures across the world. So this level of hypocrisy and this level of ignorance to the impacts that not only your own incompetence can cause, but refusing to acknowledge that this country, our United States, has had a tradition of masquerading collaboration and masquerading democracy as authoritarianism, masquerading exploitation as collaboration. And those are things that we as young people who strive to be leaders in these spaces cannot afford to do. And people in this room are people that are striving to be a part of presidential campaigns, that are striving to start nonprofit organizations, that are striving themselves to run for public office, which is the reason why, after talking to my peers and understanding how I felt about the events of the past 2 days on my own, realizing the importance of getting up here and saying what I'm saying. And I think that one of Director Ricio's points was, how can we effectively solve problems and not just chip away at them, but blow them and obliterate them from the center out? We have to first acknowledge each and every one of our privileges. As people, regardless of race, regardless of sex, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, we all have some level of privilege, and it's important that we acknowledge that before we even attempt to be effective change makers, because it always gets in the way. You will never be effective, you will never be able to make any sustainable change if you are not first able to put yourself in check and to understand that there are people and systems that have benefited and other off of your success and off of your, even off of your downfalls. You have to understand the ins and outs of that, or you will end up inevitably causing that unintentional harm that we were talking about. And I just wanted to share some insight, because a lot of my peers of color in this space have expressed how isolated they felt, not just because they are the minority, but because of things such as comments, conduct, and things of that nature that have been facilitated within this space by our fellow peers. And as I prefaced this entire argument with, I do not owe you the comfort of not mentioning those things, hence why I mentioned them. And just to close out, I think that we all need to walk away from this setting a standard as young people that are striving to be leaders in this space, as people that are striving to take up more space and are striving to learn and educate ourselves. We need to hold our elected officials, and for those of you who want to be elected officials, hold yourselves to the standard of prioritizing this grassroots mindset and prioritizing bringing people to the table that not only have access to the power and access to the systems, but that know what they're talking about. The people on the ground, such as myself, that have watched people lose their lives in this movement, that have had siblings in this movement, that have watched cities burn, that is the expertise. The data doesn't give you that. The data doesn't give you that experience. The stats have nothing on that. Right. And the people that are sacrificing in this movement, the people that are putting the legwork in, those are the people that have the real intel, the real power, and the real know-how as to how to make these policies, how to make these structures actually sustainable. So we can talk all we want about the Green New Deal. We can have all the fake Senate hearings that we want, because those things are fantastic. It's important to know how those processes work and what goes into those policies, but it's even more important that we as young people walk away from this knowing how to take good, deep, analytical looks at ourselves. Because otherwise, we'll all walk away from this thinking that there's no fault in any of our comfort in our own privilege. There's no fault in causing unintentional harm, because, well, how are we supposed to know the backlash of a decision we were making that we thought was beneficial? To think something will be beneficial is not enough. So I felt it was necessary, as someone that is emboldened enough to do so, to at least open the space for people to make comments about how they truly felt, whether they felt represented or not in this space, and just share sentiments about the ways in which you hope to move forward with connecting with one another, and just making sure that in spaces that you enter like this in the future, that people do not have to go through this and are able to openly have discussions, regardless of whether they expect to be agreed with or not, about the ways in which identities are and aren't being represented in the civic space, because that's the entire backbone. You cannot be a part of this space and not be an active agent of intersectionality. You cannot be a member of this changemaker community and not be willing to put your own privilege on the line, to put your own reputation on the line, to represent the gambit, the ladder, the entire spectrum of this community. So, with that, I will leave you. And yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to take this microphone. But I'm gonna
Yes! Woo! Yes! Woo!
You remember their faces?
I remember so vividly the black woman in the back that I said, "Get me the mic." She was back there. That's real.
That's
to your
real.
point, to answer y'all's question for real, after that, I said, and that's all. Got off. You could have heard a pin. I mean, when I tell y'all, and it's crazy because there were black girls and people in the audience who were texting about me. This is not the time and place for her to be doing it.
Not the time and place.
Where else are?
When
where
would be
are
the time
we?
and place?
Where are we? What are we? What literally? If a civic engagement conference
It's not
About
the
the
place.
is not the place,
That means you don't
then
have a
we've
home,
lost the
gang.
plot.
Yeah.
It ain't no place.
Like, so I was really, people. I was hearing whispers of people being like, "This is not. She shouldn't have got up there and said that." When I tell you, I stayed back. That Latina moderator got up there. She said, "As the child of an undocumented immigrant, I understand your concern." I said, "Oh, that's the first time you've said that." Oh,
Yeah.
Now
Now they want to have the
Now we
conversation.
pull in the identity.
So what that tells me is you thought you needed permission to say that.
Yeah.
You were waiting for someone to give you the okay instead of getting up there. Mind you, thick accent, you're not fooling nobody.
Yeah,
so
real.
you should have just got
Especially
up
not
there
them
and-
white people.
So
Get
it's in the
up there
same.
and introduce yourself in truth, because you would have benefited the people in here who can relate to you. After that, the amount of people, kids, who were sat there looking at me like a deer in headlights, who came up to me and were like, "Dog, thank you for saying that." It was so jarring, because that again was not the goal. But like, that's exactly me knowing that that's what happens when someone is willing to get up there and say like, "Yo, this is whack." It's a relief. And like me making sure that I don't just relinquish that because I'm annoyed, that's always been important to me.
That you just gave me the cheat code to like getting over social anxiety. I feel like because
Doubling down on who you are.
Because
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
like, and I hear it because I've heard that phrase, "It's not the time and place," 11 billion times on the internet with these political conversations, and I'm like, it really makes you ask the question of the progressiveness of the progressive
Yes.
thing. What are you trying to progress towards? If you are not hosting space where people who do come from different walks of life, who might have a disagreement with you, can voice that, then what are you doing? You trying to wave the flowers around and not do the actual work. It's like, I feel like, especially, maybe they can do that on the right. Maybe they could do that in some staff members thing in the Congress that's 87 or something. Maybe y'all could do that there. But it is incumbent, especially upon us and like young people, because that's not a perspective that came out of nowhere. Like, you cannot grapple with some of these topics in a way that's going to educate people
without getting into
without doing it. You can get people to be on your side and operate at your will
until they hear whatever buzzword it is,
right.
and they're gonna not be on your side and get like what
they'll tell you
Like,
it's not the time and place, and then it's like, okay, when will it actually be the time and place?
It will never
and you
be.
see that a lot, even with like the black celebrities that we kind of like put on pedestals of them not speaking about black issues, but you the nigga that opened the door for everyone, and you should be celebrating all this. and that. I'm the consequences to that, bro.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of like everyone should do their best in their capacity. But it's like if you are not equipped in a certain regard, you have to allow space for somebody who might be equipped. The fact that like y'all were not prepared to have this conversation is it's representative of America, I think.
1000%.
It's like right now, it's like a shock that these people who've been here for centuries would dare want to have like a authentic perspective represented in a room. Like,
it's like, damn, we all feel the same, but I ain't finna say it first though. Somebody like what?
Like, but you see, but it's everyone's thinking about it, and that's why you see that like weight come up. I think that the thing I wanted to segue into is kind of that trying to promote this era where we allow these authentic political discussions in a way that's very constructive, even if it's different, even if it's not in the package that you might want it to be. And that's where I want to get into more of the creative side. So like, we face this thing, or at least I know I have, where I'm like struggling with how I want to express in a certain way, like what content I want to do, what people's perception about me will be. Especially when you consider the whole side and the whole political world that we're now kind of like inadvertently connected to, the customs over there. So like, what point for you was it, okay, this is one of the many things that I'm passionate about, but I also want to be passionate about filmmaking or stuff outside of that? And when did you realize like, okay, I have space for that too?
I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to pursue film because of how political I was willing to be.
Like, that was me with baseball. Real quick with baseball, when I was in high school, my coach was telling me like, I've been seeing your TikToks, but you know, if you want to play baseball, and college coach is not gonna like it. And that was when I realized I couldn't play baseball. I said, we're not gonna like this shit, guys.
Well, I'll spare him. No, that's wow. That's real. I mean, like, I always knew that, you know, the revolution is nothing without artists. Like, art fuels revolution no matter what time period you want to talk about.
Every single one.
Every single one. But the entertainment industry is a machine, and I always knew that. So when I realized I had a love for film that I would be willing to, you know, take on a career level, I was worried. Because I knew I wasn't willing to sell out. Like, that just wasn't what, and again, like, that's a whole, you could dedicate a whole episode to that. Of black creatives attempting, you know, to gain leverage enough to be of any good, you know, in that regard to their community within the industry. Because that's a double-edged sword for real. But like, for me, like, I knew what I wasn't willing to do to make a career in that arena, and I was like, dang, I couldn't imagine they'd be ready for me and to have like the open arms thing. I didn't think that would happen for me. And you know, I was, when I really started giving myself permission to explore the medium, I mean, it was the Ava DuVernays. It was the Spike Lee. Spike Lee is a family friend of my parents.
Really?
So Spike Lee, Sankey Lee, Joy Lee, they were all close with my dad. They grew up in the same area. Some of Spike's earliest little film, like camcorder films, is my JP, sit up, my dad.
Oh, that's hard.
That's crazy as hell.
At 7, he don't know nothing.
Wait, you from New Jersey, right?
I'm from Jersey, but my parents are both.
That whole community is all intertwined over there. So
it's all. But yeah, like, I knew I was no stranger to revolutionary art. Like, I knew it existed and that it could make waves. But like, I knew I hadn't spent my whole middle school, high school career being the film girl. Like, it wasn't like I didn't think I had any leverage. I thought that I had all the leverage in the world in the impact space, but like, I thought I was coming into the film space as a baby. Come to find out. A year into me, you know, trying to figure out how to pivot, I was really like chronically burnt out, and I That's actually what my TED Talk was about. I talked about how my pivot into the creative side of my brain was what saved me from just like giving up on all of it. And that was around the time that I realized like, I gotta prove to myself that film ain't for me. Cause if I can't just like say that out of fear, I gotta like put myself in an environment that can give me the sign that like, you don't need to be here. Or like, nah, man, you need to like believe in yourself full throttle on this. And so I just started applying to like a crap ton of stuff I had put in bookmark folders and was like, yeah, right. And just left it alone. And I ended up getting a job at Jordan Peele's production company.
Wow.
How that worked though? That's crazy.
Dog.
How was that?
Oh my God. For that to be my first, I did an internship at a documentary film production company prior to that, and it was virtual. So this was literally like my first Hollywood job. It was a paid internship. And I was backed by the Academy of Motion Pictures. So I had a fellowship with the Academy.
How did that Superwoman? I literally told y'all.
I didn't know. The craziest part about this is I applied for the Monkey Paw job laughing. Like I was like, girl. And I submitted it thinking like me just getting myself out of the slump I was in and even submitting the application was a win to me. I didn't think I was going.
Access granted.
And it was crazier because I didn't even know the fellowship was attached to it. I just knew Peele had won an Oscar for Get Out. I thought that, of course they're posting job openings. It's probably just like an affiliation thing. Had no idea the two were connected. But anyway, I was living in LA for 3 months for that internship. And like literally when I tell y'all the most spoiled I could have been, you talking about that was my first Hollywood job. I was in a fellowship with people who were like working agencies. Some folks were working at Disney. Some people were, and they'd come back to our in-person convenience. Oh God, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? They're like, yo, this is great, but like, I'm tired. I'm like, I'm so ready to go back to work tomorrow. Like, it was like, I had never been so encouraged to be me in a space. And even on my job interview, it was the most meta experience. I was like, oh God, okay, how much am I going to have to sanitize to like make it? And I never forget, I got on my first virtual interview and the person who was interviewing me said, yeah, you know, your resume is really impressive. I see your background in grassroots is really important to you. Like, there's so much going on in the world today. And I said, yeah, you know, black woman, mind you, but still, again.
Yeah, you don't know where the lines are.
So I'm like, yeah, you know, it's tough. And, you know, you got to keep on. And she's like, yeah, especially with what's going on in Gaza right now.
Bang out.
Bang out, green flag. Yes. All you have to say.
I said, is this a test?
You sent me up.
I was like,
You sent me up, gang.
No, jump out the back room. What you say, my God?
like, I was, because like, when I tell you, I would have never thought someone would even would say that.
In the film
After that 3-day event, I wouldn't even be possible.
And I was just so accustomed to even like people who, it's like, you know, not all skin folk are kin folk. So you see people and you think you could be comfortable, you say something, and it's like,
I just don't like that rap music.
And like,
or what that one nigga said, bro, y'all gotta get with the white girls, man.
That's a whole different story.
Oh my God, but I get you. Yeah, you have people in the wrong place.
You never know. And like, I remember when she said that, I was like, oh yeah. I knew then, I was like, and I got in there, we'd be talking about sociopolitics all the time. We were in a little like, it wasn't like a big corporate headquarters. They've moved now since I left HQ for Monkey Paw. But it was really like everyone in there was so adamant about saying like, no, we need more of you in the industry. Like it was a no-brainer. There were 2 departments that wanted me. Wow. That's how bad it got. And I was like,
that's
wow.
Fire.
And that was like such an affirming, even at the Academy, I'm thinking if I'm gonna encounter elitism anywhere, it'll be here. And I braced for it. Like I did. I mean, you know, the Academy has a long history of people of coming into scrutiny because of like the racial diversity or lack thereof and the Oscar noms and all this other stuff. So I was ready for it. When I tell you, nothing but encouragement. They poured into us so bad. They were bringing people from all walks of the industry to talk to us, and they were not playing. Like they were really giving us intel we could use. And so once I got out of that, I was like, oh, like I can do this.
And you see, even like on Monkey Paw's like production, like you see with the movies they have, the directors are like all diverse. So like that's even.
I was gonna say we've experienced just a little. It's kind of like a reaffirming story as well. It kind of helped explain happens like so many of that same world's reaction to what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Like so many people who are, you probably wouldn't even think you'd be able to get in contact with them, have been watching and have let us know how much they care, because there's so much like mystified stuff about what happens like behind the scenes when you actually work with them. But it is like you see everywhere, especially in a place like Cali, you're gonna have the people who are on the ground doing the work are gonna be the ones who are also clued in or whatever. It's just your select few group of people who are actively trying to be
the people who control the world.
And you gotta realize too, it's like the norm in those spaces is to just be quiet and not say nothing. So when you have somebody like you to be in that space, they really want you there so they can speak up as well.
Because bro, messaging can be like spread out in so many different ways, especially like political messaging. Like being on here has shown me that like everyone really don't absorb like information like the same. And of course you know that because everyone's different, but like you really get it like once you in front of that camera, and especially like being an artist, you understand that like, bro, people resonate with shit differently. As long as you can get them to that central point, you've got it.
Or you have someone in the room that can.
There
it is.
You see how like important the arts has become, like as they're beginning to crack down more and more on like expression. Like, so that's usually the telltale signs of like a fascist regime.
100%.
Is when they say you can't start drawing shit, you gotta work on it.
You gotta use AI and shit.
All right, bro. So your experience through Next Gen Come Up and all these other like avenues you've been doing, even with filmmaking, it's like it feels like what message would you want to get to younger people who are probably our age or even younger who want to like get involved in this? Because I feel like I struggle with the question sometimes but I also understand the feeling of believing that you could do a thing, not taking that first step, giving yourself like a million reasons why like not to, but to see like where we've gone, but like even where you've gone through saying yes, through believing like you can do it. What is something that you would hope that someone in your position maybe a few years ago or who's coming up now like should believe if they want to get into this space?
Honestly, like everything that exists in our physical world had to be imagined first. That's a mantra that I've lived by since I've been a kid. And I really think that one of the main problems is we're too willing to say nothing has changed. And it's an interesting thing when you talk about like, yes, in many respects, we're going backwards. And yes, in many respects, we are, mirroring the same kind of oppressive regimes and leadership that we had in times like the 60s and the 40s and the 20s. And you can go back as far as you want. But I think that it's a detriment to the psyche of young people when we normalize that dialogue of like, oh, nothing has changed. Especially when it's Black young people. Like I was talking to a brother photographer the other day and he was like, yeah, it's really sad. It's like almost nothing has changed. And in my head, all I thought was, are you a slave? Because I'm like, if I'm correct, a crap ton has changed. Even just me going to Reverend Jackson's funeral this weekend. Like that is such a testament. Like people like him were living proof that like, we've run a mile to the power of 12. And it's like, do we still have places to go? Yeah, we still got a lot of stuff we're working to accomplish that we're trying to restore for ourselves as a people. But it almost starts becoming an excuse. Oh, well, nothing's changed and everything's changed.
It's the easy option.
It's the easy option, and it allows you to discount the amount of work that it took for this to be our normal now. So you think you're operating from a baseline where nothing's moving. Whole time you're the product of decades of movement. So I think that that's something that I'm always talking about, because whether you're trying to go into this industry or that industry, like if you're trying to make a change or do something revolutionary, like wherever you're trying to pursue a career, you have to have that mindset and that understanding. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up to fail.
And I feel like what comes with that is understanding your role in it. Like your
people
role
think progression is linear.
And it's like it never has been.
It never has been.
It's like I feel like it's annoying because like you will, and I have a tendency to do this. It's like when you are not as concrete in what you want to like do specifically with your role, you'll find yourself questioning like, what is my purpose in XYZ? But I think that the story, at least that I've seen so far from me, was kind of embracing that it can be whatever you want it to be. It can be multiple different roles because the progress is not something that's just gonna happen linearly. Like you said, it's gonna take a lot of tries, a lot of failures, a lot of everything, because even with this, the first idea wasn't like a podcast. Like the first idea wasn't like starting a nonprofit or whatever. I feel like it's just waking up and understanding that you have somebody got to do the thing, or else we would
somebody got to do it, bro.
Yeah, or else we would have been back where we came.
And that's proof that you can start your own lane and do it on your own terms, how you want to do it.
I was gonna say, what was like something that you think was probably your, like, I don't want to say like maybe most nerve wracking or like biggest, most consequential moment that you didn't think that you were ready for it at the time, but like you were forced in the scenario and you did it.
Oh God. Well, in high school, this is honestly what I consider to be the catalyst point, like where whatever gunpowder was laying on the floor caught. 2020, junior year of high school, before COVID hit, I was running for student council president.
I think I must have been running for like vice president at the same time.
Crazy. That's insane.
Going from the lawyer.
I think bro, it's a scholar thing, bro. These nerds and shit, like
niggas want to be smart and shit.
Yeah, I was running in houses in 2019.
So you
glasses on.
the word
We
white
reached
supremacy.
this part of it.
Get your dictionaries out.
About to get critical.
No, you cued me. No, but like, yeah, I was running for student council president, and that was kind of, I was trying to prove something to myself. Like when COVID hit, I was like, everything I was doing up to that point was in person. Like the gift giving initiative I talked to y'all about, that was in our 13th year. And so I was like, I can't do that now. And a lot of the stuff I was doing, mutual aid, voter registration drives, clothing, like everything was kind of like, I can't advocate the same way without putting people at risk. So like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And before that, I had not gotten into content creation. Like I was not familiar with it. And I only really started posting actively because I was campaigning as StuCo president. So during that time, I was trying to like use that to prove to myself that I could pivot, at least in the modem through which I was advocating. And then George Floyd was killed. And I was like,
Whoa.
Yeah.
wow, so we still doing this?
I remember being on like Instagram lives at the point. I had never even been on like Instagram lives for real. And that was the time I was like, okay.
I literally got on one of my first Instagram lives after that happened. And I remember just getting on Instagram live and ranting. And I think it's still on my page somewhere, but I was on Instagram.
Sounds about right.
I got on, I shit you not, this is why it's tripping me out. I got on there with the nigga who was running for president at the time. It was a white dude. And we was talking about it, and you know, he was like, man. But like
the black
it was
square.
But like
shit,
it was me like ranting because I'm like, yo, what's going on? But I had never like did nothing like that. It was like product of the time.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was just kind of like a stream of consciousness, and I wasn't even like I wasn't on there screaming. I wasn't. I actually had seen two black male friends of mine just getting on live and just bigging each other up. Like they were just talking about their wins, and they were like, in the face of everything going on right now, we just wanted to uplift each other. And something about that just ignited. So I was like, damn, like, I should do that. And so I just got on live and I was rambling. Next thing I knew, a friend of mine was like, yo, like, we was thinking of rolling up to the town hall and just seeing what we could make shake you in. And I'm like, make shake. I said, when we say we about to make something shake, we talking. We talking.
You better slide for real, yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even question. I was like, yeah,
absolutely,
man. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm gonna win this election, like this is gonna be, I'm gonna have to be the person that stands on this. Like y'all not gonna think I'm gonna get up in there and not say nothing. So I remember prepping like a speech, and by that time had never written a speech in my life. Was writing a speech, and I had ended up winning the election before the day of the rally.
Oh wow.
So by the time we all got to town hall, my parents driving me, my granddad, rest his soul, he came with his drum. He brought like an actual.
Oh, it's about to get live.
Yeah, it's about to get wicked.
My family is very earthy hippie. If you could know, if I had the frankincense, I would have brought it.
I should have brought one.
I'm so
we had the oranges.
We would have been
I'd have been sitting just like these.
But like that was my whole world. So he came and he wanted to support. So he brought his drum, his shekere, his djembe. My uncle came to. So I just thought, okay, I want to uplift whoever it is that shows up, so that people know that like, while this is an insane time, we dealing with this pandemic, we just saw something extremely tragic play out on our version of live television at that point. Like, I just wanted to do what I could to be positive. Pull up. When I tell y'all, I couldn't see the ground. We were coming down the hill. We could see Town Hall over there. I couldn't see the ground. There were so many people.
Oh, yeah.
3,000 people on just a little lot of, because we don't got no sprawling acres for our town hall. It's a little block of like some grass. And I was like, oh, I'm out of my depth. I said, oh no, I don't do that.
3,000 people.
Yeah, 3,000.
I have never seen a crowd so big in person in my life. By that point, I was like, what? But like, I know punk. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say,
don't
like,
fold.
I wasn't gonna
Increase,
sit there
but we
and be
don't
like,
fold.
I was gonna be like, yo, actually, can y'all turn the car around? Like, I think I
And now you here now.
I was like, and my mom, I'll never forget, she saw it, and she turned around, she looked at me in the back, she was like, you know what you gonna say? And I said, yeah. She said, okay, then let's go. And I got out, and I was one of the like earlier people to speak, and I got up there, and I remembered giving that speech. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, because I was so not ready. Like, when I tell you I was not ready, I thought like, oh, it's gonna be a couple hundred people. I was so not prepared for that. And it was just, the energy was like, I'll send y'all pictures that were taken at that thing. Because like, to this day, I look at them and I'm like, wow, like, that was crazy. But it was really like, as scared as I was, when I got up there, I didn't start immediately. I looked at people. Because I just had to process, like, everybody is experiencing this. Like,
Go through the strategy.
we're
because
all
you
under
can psych yourself
lockdown.
out.
Yeah, I'm like,
exactly.
the weight that everybody here must be carrying. I just had to give myself the time to like take that in. Because I was like, this is wild that all these people are converging.
It's special because everyone's feeling the same thing.
And that's rare. Like, you very rarely get that. So I was like, wow, like, and it was really like looking at everyone's faces, and like, I remember seeing people masked up and like seeing babies on shoulders, and I was looking across the street and seeing heads on like the roofs of the office buildings that were like across the street, and just sat on the edge of the office building like it wasn't somebody's whole establishment. It was like, and it was like, you know, but it was so crazy, and I just remembered feeling such a calm in that moment, despite how like scared I was. And I gave that speech, and I like blacked out naturally. And then I got off that podium, and after that, the media got to that, and it was like everything I had been doing for the last 12 years was like
Just like,
put on
boom,
a platform. It was like, oh, she's been doing it for ages. And it was like, I didn't realize youth activism had become sexy. I was like, oh, because again, when that's like your whole life, you're not thinking about, oh, I want to be the liberal girl. I want to be the... I like it really.
It's real life.
There wasn't a name for that. It wasn't like you were walking around calling yourself a Gen Z youth advocate.
There was no internet shit for that.
It wasn't. And so like when the media realized I had been doing it for so long, like a lot of outlets picked it up. I had shared it. I was wild. And like till this day, I'm my own publicist. People ask me all the time. They're like, who does your PR? I mean, it's just your branding is fabulous. And I'm like,
me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I.
But like, it was really just a matter of like, I'm like, oh, if people find value in this, like, I'm okay with sharing it. So I was just pushing that. I was continuing to do my organizing work. A lot of the siblings I had connected with all those years just over social media, because things were getting so crazy in their cities, like people out here mobilizing crowds of 10,000 people. I'm like, yo, you need support? I'm in your city next week. You just tell me what you need. And like, I was ping-ponging more than I knew I was capable of at the time, but that was how I was building community. And like, I got so many organizing siblings today I'm so grateful for, that like we really came through for each other in those 2 years, like 2020, 2021, when stuff was live, like every day. That was really, those coalitions we built were like really what kept us going and like helped us get through some crazy times.
Talk about like, because we talk about like, or we saw what happened last year basically with the No Kings protest. And all of the ICE protests that have been across the country.
They just had a general strike.
They just had a general strike in Minneapolis. They're talking about doing protests here coming summer because you know ICE is about to be back here. As a We're about to go to the CTU and talk about it too. Actually, have we done it already once this comes out?
Oh, we did the promo already, but once this comes out, we will have already.
It'll be that day. Actually, yeah, it comes out that day.
Yeah.
Wait,
so it'll come out that day. So we're about to go to them. Obviously, we're going to learn a lot from them, the people there. How do we, from someone who is like LeBron of organizing,
has been doing it since birth.
But in all seriousness, like I think a lot of people look for that type of direction though, right? Like a lot of people even ask us all the time, like, okay, like tangible, what are we doing because ICE is running in our cities? Tangibly, what are we doing because this person pulled funding from this? What do you think are, you don't have to give me like a countrywide, but like game plan wise, like what do you think, or what would you tell people in terms of the next steps need to happen, whether it's small grassroots organizations coming together and banding to do different general strikes or working with teachers unions or et cetera, or it's on a national scale, getting media involved, getting different podcasts, different entire media like landscapes involved to like really push like that 11 million number and get people outside.
Because people want that change. They just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, and I was going to also ask, like, do you ever think about like it or be scared? Because there are times where, I mean, we've seen how, I mean, they just arrested like Don Levy. Yeah. They going after anybody who has organizing background or been at a protest. So do you think about that stuff nowadays?
Yeah, like it's really, my answer is in tandem to both of those points. I think that like fear is part of it. Like a lot of people don't understand that. Like I've mentored a lot of young people who have said to me like, I really want to do this thing in my hometown, but like I don't want to get arrested. And I've had to explain to them like, I need you to become very okay with getting arrested.
Yeah, put that on the table.
Not because that's the goal, like because it isn't. But like if you have to, in order to be effective in this work, you have to realize that you are putting your body on the line. And you're relinquishing an amount of choice when you do that. And you're relinquishing privilege in a lot of that regard because in different respects, we've all been able to be like, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, I won't be here. Or I don't want to. And like when you are attempting to make that big of a statement, like you have to give that up. Otherwise, you're not effective.
Yeah, literally.
And I think that like in this day and age, people have to take a multi-pronged approach. Like I think it's very clear when the best and most effective thing you could do is get outside. Like there's a time and a place where protest is the most effective thing, but I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all situation. I think that especially now with departments like ICE being as nuanced and complex in the issues they're causing, it's really important that people who are trying to make a change, that's why y'all gotta support independent journalism. Y'all gotta support the creatives that you respect and that are attempting to like keep dialogues alive, because censorship is happening already, but it's also something that will only continue to keep being strengthened and bolstered if people are allowing it. Like if y'all are like, well, I'm scared of getting shadow banned. I'm scared of, people deciding they don't want to work with me here or work with me there. You have to stick to it.
Gotta keep
because that only lasts for so long. Realistically, you being ostracized, we live in a capitalist society. So people on the outside are gonna want to make their money in the season they gotta make their money. But when you stick to your guns and when you're always someone who's one, consistent in their belief, two, who's always willing to connect people, one, you know that in times where they're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, your people are always going to be able to count on you. They're like, dang, all this is dark over here. It's okay because I know I'm going to be able to count on the Jaam. The Jaam going to tell me what's going on. And like, it's really that serious. Like people think that because we're in a digital age and because we can get our media, at the touch of a button almost every time, that like this concept of there being this massive media blackout, that's foreign to us. We've never experienced that in this country, at least in our generation. So the idea that someone can have that much control to be like, oh wow, y'all talking about liberation a little too much, shut the whole thing off. That's not something we think is capable of occurring, but like we have to move like it's a constant threat. Otherwise, when we get too comfortable, when we start thinking that like dialogue is optional, then that's when we become really vulnerable to people, shaping narratives, censoring people, and like cutting
before you know it, you flying people out to a conference and you can't say why it's burning.
I mean, like, I don't blame people for being scared because even the representation, like the people that are in power, aren't even meeting the moment. So like, how can you inspire someone to even do that?
They're moving scared.
That's one thing that we pride in so much, and we always preach it to people, is just stay true to yourself. You cannot fold under pressure. At all.
Of course. I want to end off Thank you for coming through. But before we get you gone, I need to pick your brain about some recommendations.
Yes.
I've been getting book recommendations from people because I need to be better about reading books. But if not books, like 3 inspirations that you've had or things that you've taken inspiration from that has helped you in this work.
Oh, don't worry. I got books.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get the notepad.
It's really funny because I think that one of the things that's given me the most inspiration is literature recently. Like reading has given me a lot of inspiration. It's like one of my favorite ways to like recharge when I'm feeling real jaded and I'm like, I'm sick of everybody. I crack a book open and it really does help me, regain perspective. One of the books I continue going back to, I'll send y'all a picture of my copy. When I tell you Tabbed, like that thing is like a rainbow. All of it.
Annotation.
When I tell you I torn that book.
It was a strategy. I couldn't knock it because it's a good strategy.
It's a great strategy.
I gotta write
it. It just takes so much time. And we was reading bullshit.
No, I don't even write. I literally have a key. It's just them little Post-its.
The little
I
ones.
just make a key in the beginning of like what the topics each tab touches on. I just be sticking stuff because I don't
That's
have
literally how they have
learning
habits.
habits.
Put the sticky on.
I was
Just
like,
give me a book like I want to read.
Yeah, and then back out.
These niggas
And my
give me
shit-
bullshit.
They would teach us that and my shit would be blank because nigga I would not be paying attention. I know what the fuck is going on.
That popcorn reading
oh
shit,
my God,
done
wait.
for.
No, that's actually crazy. There's one. But the one that's all tabbed up, Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. Y'all got it. When I tell y'all. And not even because it has any specific connotation to like the fight against ICE or anything that we're talking about that's super hyper specific, but like there's such an important like intersection between Black people, patriotism, and religion that I always find really fascinating, especially because even in my work as a filmmaker, like I tend to write a lot of projects and develop a lot of projects that have to do with kinship, gender nuance, and Black people's relationship with patriotism. And so The Fire Next Time is such a, like, when I tell y'all, it's so fascinating to hear him talk about how, being raised in a super religious household and having to come through that while also observing, like, what was happening to Black people in his community. That was really, like, eye-opening to me. And James Baldwin is just one of my favorites.
Every single time I see James Baldwin speaking on a clip, like back in the day, I'm like, yo, he's so impressive.
Grace Wellsbonder, fashion designer, she, like, her collection that, like, brought her to the map and got her in that industry. It was inspired from James Baldwin.
He's brilliant.
Oh my God.
From everything I've seen, he's brilliant.
Fire Next Time.
Y'all gotta read. And let me tell you, easy read. Like, I know some of the stuff I like to read, you look at it and you're like, damn. But no, Fire Next Time is like, I don't even know if it's like a couple hundred pages.
That's cool.
But the other one, I had to bring it up because the title is long and I wanted to like get it real right. One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This.
Oh, I've heard about that book.
By Omar El Akkad, I believe it is. Forgive me. But yeah, that I just started it, and man, you want to talk about like in a time where we're talking about the active proliferation of a genocide. We're constantly talking about, who's willing to go to war and why, and who ends up fitting the bill for a lot of these conflicts. Like it really puts into perspective not only that idea, but the idea that the people you're seeing be really silent about this now are the same people who in 10, 20, 30 years from now, you never know.
It was all woke back then.
Everyone was like, it was so insane back then.
Paul, what happened? What did you do back then?
Donate to the Trump campaign. But like everyone, that's the thing is that's kind of like I love just the title and what I've heard about it because it speaks to that shit that we all tell ourselves about, like we could never be Nazi Germany. And it's like, it's very powerful to watch what's going on right now and how narratives are constantly being shifted, which is why having young people, Black and brown people in these social media spaces, the way that you can get the message out is so important because there will be a time where people got to write this shit down. And you already know what they're going to try to write down. They're going to put it in the textbooks. They put King Brett in the...
that's how people do it, right? We never going to be Nazi Germany, but we will be America, bro. It's like when people really start pulling back those like layers, it's like...
Nigga, they got
what does that mean?
They got their tactics from us.
Like, and what does that
how
mean?
exempt are you really?
Yeah,
for you to mood board. It's like, okay.
Why?
But I got one more.
Okay,
I just want to make
one
sure
more.
I got it right. But I'm a huge fan of graphic novels too.
Yeah.
I think that that's a huge like slept on form of media, especially because I grew up loving comics, so I know that like people
You
hear
like
graphic
anime?
novel, I'm getting into it.
You gotta get into it. He said, nah.
Cut everything. Cut it off. I didn't like that. I like comics and then the for anime.
Manga is a little. I be overstimulated a little bit.
I can't do the manga.
And you gotta read it backwards like the other way
I think
too.
that's like the only
It's
thing.
a lot for me.
Yeah, I can't do the manga.
But no, I'm a big. I grew up with a Marvel Comics fanatic. Anime, I don't be saying I'm an anime fan because like I know some of y'all go dog.
Yeah, where you go with it.
But like I just finished Yasuke.
Oh,
What it's called?
Yasuke?
Yeah.
I always say it.
It's like an older
the Black
Yasuke.
Samurai, right?
Yeah, Black Samurai.
Yeah.
I just finished that.
I'm not an anime fan. I haven't watched it either.
So what was you getting all loud?
He is an anime fan.
I'm an anime fan. I'm an anime fan,
He
but
ain't
like
an
I get what you
old-time
mean though. Like
anime
I
fan.
say like I'd be like, yeah, I'm an anime fan.
I consider-
and I'd be like, oh, so you like this? I'm like, nigga, I ain't.
I'm the
never
type of
watched
anime
it.
fan where I consider it to be like a show, man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I had the same aversion, and then I heard like the stories, the themes within it. It's like, okay, I get it. But I can never be like. Some people be I'm like,
It do start talking about for hours.
graphic
No,
novel.
because some of it, like I finished Attack on Titan. I knew that
You
was
did?
a rite of passage. I did.
Okay.
That took me
Only
a
one
second.
year.
I did. It took me
Yeah.
a minute though.
Okay.
Who lost me? Naruto lost me.
Okay, I don't believe.
Yeah,
it.
no,
I haven't
lost
started
me too.
yet.
I really stuck to it for a while too, and I was like,
I stuck to it till like the
many
best part. It's too many episodes.
Too many.
okay. One
After you
Piece,
became a teenager, I turned that shit off.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna be.
No.
Don't do that.
Wait.
Don't waste it.
Please just start screaming at
If you got a problem, what you gonna do about it, nigga? No, but real shit. Like it's too many episodes, bro.
The only thing I hear about One Piece is the
That's political.
political themes. Like people say it's cool for the political. I'm like, nigga, 1,000 episodes for the political themes.
I haven't started. It's gonna take a long for me to get started.
You can kind of tell. It's like, okay, you keeping this going for the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know when that's happening.
Oh, sorry, we keep cutting you off for the final.
No, it's okay. I just had to make sure I was getting the authors' names right because I don't play about my folks. But no, two graphic novels I really love, and they're like adult reads. It's not like kiddie picture books or nothing. It's one is Unflattening by Nick Susanis. It's actually a dissertation.
Really?
But it's written in the form of a graphic novel.
Wow.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
And when
Yeah,
y'all
that's
see
crazy.
it, I mean, oh my God, it's one of the most insane things. I actually had to read it as a part of our
Say it again. What's it called?
Unflattening. Unflattening by Nick Susanis. I had to read it as part of my social justice honors college curriculum at the HLC when I was in school. But yeah, it's super philosophical. Like it's mostly political theory, but it so deeply goes into the nuances behind this idea of like othering and like figuring out one, how to acknowledge the ways that we've flattened our society and tried to oversimplify things for the sake of ousting people or for the sake of like kind of relinquishing our own responsibility, and then how to turn that on its head. So it really does break down like the psychology and like the philosophical aspects of like what backs so many of these political movements, systems, all that. And it's also just the artwork is like insane.
It's fire. Unflattening. I'm looking
Unflattening.
at it.
It's definitely, it's one of those things that you'll read it and you'll feel like you levitating. Like it's like, it's really like
Roll that 3-5.
It's in my pocket.
We about to start reading these books, man. Oh my God. 35. You don't know what inspiration you unlock from the books, though. That's my favorite thing about books. Is that it make my brain move and shit.
That's hard.
That's one of my favorite graphic novels to read. It's definitely like because it's philosophy. It's like you'll be reading it, feel like, but I mean, it's so valuable, the takeaways from it. And then another one, The Talk by Darren Bell.
I feel like I've heard about that.
Yeah,
one.
it's a memoir in the form of a graphic novel. Darren Bell is a really world-renowned political cartoonist. So he won a lot.
That's where that name is from.
Yeah,
the political cartoons.
Yeah, he won a Pulitzer for some of his work that he created during the Trump administration. But a lot of the stuff that he had been doing prior to that, was informed by his experience growing up in
Yeah,
Cali.
this one.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's the nigga who Darren Bell. That's the nigga I've seen all of
Yeah.
Okay.
Really great book. I ended up getting it for my brother. He's 13, so I'm always putting him on game.
Oh, that's fire.
Eating good.
W sister.
W.
But who was I just talking about like being young, black, and growing up with an older sister? Like,
oh yeah,
like black. I
I forgot who was talking.
Yeah, but one of them was. Shout out.
No, that's my guy. But I ended up getting it for him and reading it before I gave it to him, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. So yeah, definitely recommend that. He talks a lot about his childhood growing up in NorCal, right? Oakland. So he really does, get into the nuance of him being a biracial guy and living in a time where like so much stuff was popping off. So yeah, I highly recommend that. Yeah.
Fire.
Thank you for dropping some knowledge on this episode.
Some great knowledge.
Where can the people find you and all your platforms?
Yeah, what's next?
What's next?
Oh gosh. Okay, let me remember all the. Okay. Well, you can find me at I am AJDILLARD on all platforms. Instagram is my preferred, so if you want to hit me on there,
run up the Instagram.
My production company is Genevesque Media, so that you can also find that on my Instagram as well. We are dropping a number of projects, but the one I will plug is Atelier, the Story of Brown Mill Company, short film drop in June of this year. So
run it up when it drops.
Are you doing like a premiere?
World premiere in Manhattan, New York.
We coming to the premiere?
That'll
be the first time in New York we can shoot it.
Oh my God.
That'll be hard.
Y'all heard what they said.
We didn't say nothing.
Y'all heard what they said. All three.
If only people who watch the full episode to know about their appearance. That's how it works.
I need people to drop that city emoji in the comments of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need y'all to run this episode up so we can afford to go down there.
Patreon in the description.
Patreon.com/thejaampodcast. You will see this episode there first.
But continue your other organizations.
Oh gosh, yeah, the Next Gen Come Up, that's my nonprofit. If you or a young person you know is trying to get more involved in the grassroots schema, or you just want to learn more about how to support the organizers fighting for the stuff you believe in, hit us up. We'd love to share resources and any information we can. Also, my first ever TED Talk is dropping in the month of March. I'm not sure when, but hopefully by the time this is out, it will either be out or out very soon.
Yeah,
so
we
stay
will let
tuned on
y'all
socials.
I can't wait to watch that. I ain't gonna lie.
That's gonna be hard.
We're gonna let y'all know when it come out. Go tune in. And thank you guys for joining us on episode 51 of the Jam.
5-1.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, all platforms. Like we always say, have an awesome day or night wherever you may be, and peace.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Thank you for watching this long. If you haven't already, subscribe. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You think we just sitting here doing it for nothing?
You think you're gonna sit here and not
Need
do
to
shit? Like
eat.
this shit.
Click that I know you're not subscribed. Click it.
Cool.